There we go. So before I open up my slides, I want to first tell you how I'm going to organize the webinar today, introduce myself, and then we'll get right to it. So my plan today is to share a presentation about the application for the Cultural Arts Grant with you. And since I have to share my screen, full screen for the presentation, I won't be able to interact with you during the presentation. But as soon as it's over, I'm going to promote you both to the panelist level, so then we can have a conversation, you can ask questions, and we can chat. If you have questions throughout, I believe you are able to send in type little messages, and then I can go back and answer those after the presentation as well. And then let's see. Yeah, I think that's the general summary of it. And I'll record your questions too, because I think that the questions you may have are going to be the same questions that others have, because there have been a few changes to the grant application this year as well. So let me try to share my screen. Okay. You should be seeing my presentation now. All right. Okay, so I'm Heather Mahano. I'm the East Lansing Art Festival and Art Initiatives Coordinator for the City of East Lansing. And this is my, I was going to say third year in this role, but I've been organizing the Cultural Arts Grant for a lot longer than that. So it wasn't until about 2 years ago that we started making some updates and changes. And this last year, the commissioners really went through step by step. It took them about 3 meetings to work through and reorganize based on some feedback and experiences that we've had as a commission. This is the 2022 cycle. Even though it's still 2021, it's our fiscal year 2022. Oh, somebody wants the link. I'll have to send them the sponsored or the recorded. Okay, so I'm just basically going to read through this, and if you have questions, again, either type them in the chat box or write them down, and we'll chat afterwards. So the Cultural Arts Grant supports public art programs and projects that provide high quality art experiences, encourages artistic expression and public participation with an emphasis on promoting cultural appreciation for BIPOC communities and LGBTQIA+ experiences and understanding through art. So we have $17,500 to give out to promote public art in East Lansing and to help further the conversation about BIPOC and LGBTQIA experiences. This is a little bit of a change from previous years if you're familiar with the Cultural Arts Grant application process. So in the past, we focused on the applications not requesting any more than 15% of the total project budget, which is still in there, as you can see. However, it seemed to limit the types of applicants that we would get. We would get large organizations, groups, and like the arts festival or the jazz festival or the film festival, which are all great, awesome things. But in order to promote like neighborhood art or something like that, we couldn't, the 15% didn't make any sense because the full budget for the entire project would be like $500. So that's why we added in this $500 aspect of it to encourage the smaller projects, the one-offs, the non-organizations, non-nonprofits to apply and further art in our community. A lot of the criteria will likely look familiar. It must take place within the city of East Lansing, must primarily benefit East Lansing residents, and it must encourage artistic awareness, public participation, or cultural arts appreciation. It must have evidence of artistic merit, and it must take place between October 1 and June 30, simply because that is our fiscal year and we need to spend the dollars within the same fiscal year. And the artist or project coordinator is not required to be a resident of the city of East Lansing, which allows for a little bit more of like a global view of art. All right, so the applications are due September 1st to me. Incomplete applications, I will work with the applicant to encourage them to make some changes or updates according to the guidelines, according to information that I know that the Arts Commission is going to be looking for. I'll release the funds in October this year, once we have signed an agreement and a contract for those funds, and late applications will not be accepted. In the past, this has been a bit of a point of contention, and just to eradicate the option, we have completely, we will not be accepting any late applications. Timeline. So we released the call for applications July 1st. And today is the grant presentation, and they're due on the 1st of September. Between the 2nd and 10th of September, I'll be reviewing and reaching out to any applicants who may have those incomplete applications. And September 16th, all applicants are invited to join the Arts Commission at their scheduled meeting. It's at 5:30 p.m. here at City Hall. It's in person as of right now, and it'll be in courtroom 2. And you are invited to attend the review process and to offer about a 5-minute presentation of your application to the commission and answer any questions they may have. The following week, I'll notify you if the commission said yes to your application, and they do have the option of changing the dollar amount too that you apply for. So in the past, I've seen it go up and I've seen it go down. So one year we didn't have enough applicants to spend all of our money, but we wanted to. So we took the remaining amount and split it up between the applicants. We've also gone down, and some of the larger ones, it's not usually the smaller $500 requests. It's typically the bigger ones, the festivals that get fewer dollars, if there are more smaller ones that they would like to fund. So I will notify you the following week of your grant award and work with you to get the contract settled and signed. And then once that's signed in October, I will send you your money, and it's all up front. And then your reports are due by the last day of the fiscal year, that is June 30th of 2022. Application process, pretty simple. I just need one set of the grant application, the narrative, the budget, and support material. And it needs to be submitted either, if it's printed, it needs to be on 8.5 by 11 paper, one-sided, unbound, or you can email it to me as one single PDF. I don't want a bunch of individual PDFs because it makes keeping track of all of the applications a bit of a nightmare. So attach all of your documents into one document and send it to me. And also, if it's in PDF form, that makes it so that any of your images or formatting stays the same. If you put it in a Word document, things are often messed up, disorganized, simply because we may not have the same Word year downloaded on our computer or program. So again, you can mail them, you can hand deliver them, or you can email them to me. Please don't fax them. I actually don't even know where the city fax is. So, all right, so the guidelines. Again, projects that speak to the national conversation around race, equity, gender, and disability, and highlight the BIPOC, LGBTQIA plus artists and art performances will be given additional consideration. We actually added it into the review process. It's an extra 5 points. Applications will be reviewed again on September 16th at 5:30 by the Arts Commission. And again, you are invited to give a 5-minute description presentation of your project. The grant cannot be used to pay salaries or benefits. However, an artist stipend is acceptable. And if the event is for the funds to create and or install something that are not on the applicant's own property, example, a little art gallery, like in a park or public property, or an art exhibit at a gallery, permission from the land or gallery owner must be included with the application. The commissioners want to see a full thought process and the actual ability for, as soon as you get that money, for you to implement the process that you applied for and be able to pay those people and get all that out there. The budget. This is something I'm going to run through right now, just real quick, but if there's any questions, I actually have an Excel document and I can fill out a sample one for you while we're having a conversation in a second here right after this. So we want to see a spreadsheet for both your proposed budget and then at the end when you turn in the report. We don't need to see your receipts. We don't need to see any additional information, proof of purchase or anything like that. We just need to see that, yes, we were planning on spending $6,000. We're planning on, for salaries, we're planning on spending $3,000 for contracts. And then within that budget, we need to see exactly how much money of the Arts Commission money that you're asking for is being spent and where it's being spent. So you'll see under stipends, I have $500 of the $1,500 stipend budget is going to be the Arts Commission money. The supplies, Arts Commission, $2,000. Let's see where else. This is a very random event I fake planned here with a cow rental and Spanish interpretation, but things like this are going to be, you know, just if it's something that's interesting or unique to your event, just pull it out. If it's going to be a different cost, a separate cost, pull it out and just show us on the spreadsheet. And then if you are going with a 15% level of budget, then show us, this is our expenses, these are our revenues, and this is how much of the Arts Commission budget we're using for this, and this is what it looks like. If it's the 500 or lower, this is our project, then just say like wood for the mini library or the mini art gallery, this much, and nails this much, you know. And then in the report, we don't need to see the receipt from Home Depot or Lowe's. We just need to see, oh, yep, they spent just about that much. They spent the money. That's great. So that's the general budget overview. But again, I can answer your questions here in a second. Okay, so you should have my contact information because I sent you emails, but just in case you don't, there it is at the end. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and promote you to panelists and see if you have any questions. Okay, screen share is off. Promote to panelists. Promote to panelists. Okay. Oh, there you are, Pam. All right. And I'm gonna keep your videos off, but you should be able to unmute yourselves if you would like to. So Any questions?
I've got a question.
Yes.
And I haven't opened it yet, but it would be really great to have a Word version of the application that I can then edit and then save as a PDF to send. Because I end up having to fill out the PDF manually because I don't have Adobe Editor.
Okay.
You know, and I hear that might be a problem if people tend to save it as a Word document, but otherwise you can't. You just end up manually printing. I scanned it in, and then I mean it was okay, but it's just challenging. I can really see it being a burden for non-office type people. you know what I mean? That don't work at desks all the time.
So in that kind of instance, if I'm happy to provide that and I can email it to you, but we can only upload PDFs to our website.
Oh, good answer. I hear
that. But I do have the Word document. I have the working document, so I can share that with you if that's easier. Okay. Any other questions? All right, well, if you think of any between now and September 1st, let me know. I am going to be off. Oh, Diane, yes, you can. I think you can unmute yourself, but I'll unmute you.
Okay, there, thanks.
There you go.
I was trying to think of ways, and maybe this is something to speak with you more about. You know, I'm at the Montessori school, but how to make my program and bring our ensemble to East Lansing.
Right.
So I was wondering, because the impact is a very large issue.
Mm-hmm.
Of my impacts directly are my school, but then coming up with impact outside of the school.
Right.
So I was wondering if we could talk, or if you you could also there's somewhere to brainstorm with people as to how to small people like myself to impact more the community.
Yeah. So that's one of those things where I actually do have ideas for you.
Okay.
So when I talked a little bit about making sure that the plan that you have proposed, that you've chatted with the other people that may be impacted by it. In your case, I would think that hooking up with the East Lansing community events or with the downtown management board interns, organizers here at the city would really behoove you. Because I can see your ensemble being really great for a performance on Ann Street Plaza during one of our summer concert series, or even at the art festival or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
You called it the downtown. I got the events, the East Lansing events, but what was the second one you had said?
It's Downtown Management Board. You'd want to talk to Adam Cummins. He's the one who leads that here at the city. And I can share contact information with you after this.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So can I ask, Diane, are you asking for performance opportunities? Was that the gist of your question?
No, so I am purchasing instruments. So the biggest thing is I am looking to purchase instruments, and I am looking to get funding to purchase instruments.
Oh, so that's kind of a direct grant question, really.
And then in return, I impact a small number of people directly because of where I teach. But to expand my interaction with people, yes, I'm looking to where I can take this ensemble, because I can address many of the racial issues, the equity. I can do that through music and through what I'm teaching. But, and I do that in a small environment, but I need to brainstorm with somebody as to where do I take this beyond my school. Yes, that
Right.
is what I'm looking
I'm
for.
asking because I'm looking at getting some funding for the ceramics program at Hannah Center in East Lansing, but it's a subsidiary of a larger, which I'm looking at turning into a nonprofit, Mid-Michigan Arts Association. And one of the things that we've been discussing is opportunities for dialogue, general like community dialogue on arts and how we, directions we might go, and like exactly your question, like what can arts do to bring things forward? What, sort of manifestations of the arts in the community on a brainstorm level,
Right.
like get dialogue going to help exactly like what you're saying, like isolated artists or art fish. I had a term, somebody called me that, because I'm like not an artist, I'm a manager of art, a facilitator, like how to facilitate art, right?
Yeah.
Like I like making the structures. I'm an IT operations person. I like making the infrastructure that makes making art doable, right? So
Right.
yeah.
I know within East Lansing Public Schools, so when my children were here, I know they had ensembles that it was really difficult to get them out in the public in many ways, even though they were the public schools. But like my kids on ensembles always played at the library because we had that connection.
Right. Well, let me hassle Heather a bit, because so my husband coordinated stuff for East Lansing. There was a performance group and a poetry group, and they performed at Scene Metro Space. And then Scene Metro Space got turned over to the university, so that kind of went away as a venue. And I know there's a venue in Bailey, but then it's, and I know, Heather, how about 4 more jobs for you? But like, that is a venue that is not being utilized.
Mhm.
So I just, it would be, that's part of the brainstorming and trying to figure out, okay, what resources do we have? How can we get them utilized? The beautiful auditorium in Hannah, I'd love to see that being used more, like being, whatever it takes to get more activities running through and utilizing our resources to their maximum, capacity. So.
Right. And see, I'm at that very beginning of the stage, being at the Montessori Center. I don't, and I know with COVID and everything,
Yes.
that many of the East Lansing elementary, so I'm looking to purchase ORF instruments. And I know East Lansing is the public schools have a great deal of that. Whether those teachers are doing ensembles like that, I'm not definitely sure.
What kind of instruments?
ORF instruments. They're called ORF Schulwerk. It's a philosophy of teaching music, and they are small. Think of there are xylophones, glockenspiels.
Oh yeah, okay.
Xylophones that children can play.
Sure, I can picture that totally.
And my school, what I did do is we fundraised, and so I have some of the instruments, and we were able to do that. And I had I have my primary kids, my lower L and my upper L. We put together this ensemble, and it was very rough, but we started the process. And my goal is to increase this, but then also take it like next summer. Part of my plan, Heather, would be to say, okay, we're going to have music week at the Montessori. It is going to be paid per se, like a summer camp, but it's going to be an ORF. Or if I found somewhere I could take these in East Lansing and run a seminar, like you said, on the Friday nights or downtown events that they had. Like they had what was it? The Wharton Center came out, Heather, this year and did something, right?
Yeah, the Wharton Center worked with Adam to do downtown events for kiddos. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
I mean, that's my goal to do those things. I'm just starting at a very bottom level of just starting.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'll share Adam's contact information with you so you can reach out to him. And then, yeah, if you have any other questions about it or something's not quite making sense to you, just let me know.
okay.
So I've got one more thing.
Yes.
So word on the street. So one of the main concerns and one of the main needs of the ceramics program is additional space.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, my grant can't really address that. I mean, it's like my group is addressing it in terms of lobbying and brainstorming and that sort of thing. But, so I don't, but I did hear that Parks and Rec staff may be moving into Hannah Center.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't help but think how the current location of the ceramic studio is perfect for offices. I mean, it's already a problem with dirt, not as much a particular individual had a particular problem with dirty shoes, but that, it's such a messy process, and it's right in the middle of office space and rental meeting space and that sort of thing. And some of our dreams is to move into the basement or to move into a space that would be more accommodating the mess. And we're cleaning it up. That's what the grant is going to be kind of focused on, getting that organized and processes in place. But yeah, I wonder if there's, and I'll talk to Kathleen too, but if there's something that I could help. We love to get an accessible wheel, and then we did some measurements, and there's no way we can fit an accessible wheel in our current, that sort of thing. So, but it's such cart horse conundrum for me in terms of. So anyway, this just wanted to put a bee in your ear.
Okay.
This grant is looking at, we're going to be focusing again on just improvements to the functioning of the existing space.
Okay.
But if I hear anything else, I'm more than happy to change it into a direction that might fund and facilitate that sort of move. I mean, it seems like it might be a win-win for the use of Hannah. So
Okay.
just put that out there. And I know we have a brand new parks director, so that's.
Yep.
I don't know what that means yet, but
we don't need.
Pam, have you ever seen upstairs on that third?
yeah, that's my middle school, so I'm super familiar with it.
Yeah.
But my feeling about the third floor is that is a blank slate, but it's a blank slate, but the basement was originally industrial arts
Okay.
and art space, and it has ramps. It used to have fans. I'm not sure what the status of the infrastructure is at this point, but it was really designed for that.
Right.
And so, I mean, the oyster of the third floor is, anything could happen up there.
Right. That's science rooms were upstairs.
Right. But I just feel like that, and I haven't been in the basement in 10, 15 years. But my vision, my fantasy vision is that because these are art spaces, they really don't need any aesthetic work. It would be an easier move than what might be required for the third floor. That's just what I picture. And then that third floor could stay available for, and hey, my real fantasy would be a whole arts and crafts center. I just, yeah, I know the third floor is wide open. I hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you both for joining.
All right. Well, thank you, Heather. I'm really glad for the deadline. I think that'll be a blessing.
Yep.
That's, as an operations person, having rules. Oh, too bad. That's the rules. Everybody actually feels better. They may be pissed in a moment, but then it's a brief piss off, and then they move on. But the other, when it's blurry, that's when these people feel mishandled, feel like maybe somebody got in, they didn't get in. So I'm glad for the deadline, hard deadline it, knock yourself out. That's good.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Thank you very much, Heather.
All right, thank you, Heather. That was very helpful.
good. I'm glad. If you think of anything else, again, just let me know.